Hello everyone, a video here looking at Russia's defensive trenches. These ones are east of Bakhmut, and they are long. These were spotted with Sentinel-2 satellite imagery. So they're east of the city, about 18 kilometers from Bakhmut itself, and they extend north to south for a length of roughly 26 kilometers. Let's zoom in on a section, so you can see it's a long double row of anti-tank trenches. We've seen these types of trenches in Kherson, but in Kherson it's usually just a single trench. Here, there's a double row of them. Here's an image of the trench a little bit further north, showing how it continued. You may notice a little square object in this one. That's nothing to do with Russia's defensive formations. It shows up on Google Maps as well, so whatever it is, it's something old. What isn't visible are dragon's teeth, so I'm unsure if these are here or not, but it's likely they will be somewhere. Now, it isn't just the anti-tank trench which we've got to look at. There are a handful of infantry trenches and positions. One is shown here. Unfortunately, the details from Sentinel-2 aren't very good, so at first glance this may look like a natural scar in the land, but as we can see when we compare it with Google Maps image, this is man-made and new. So it's a defensive trench of some sort, likely for infantry. Now here is a very interesting bit. Russia looks to have turned this small village, called Druzhba, into a fortification. As you can see, it looks to be fortified with various trenches, some leading off down to the south. Here, I've added a comparison with Google Maps, so you can see that these aren't natural and weren't there pre-war. I can't help but wonder if this place is being used as a headquarters of some sort by Russia for this region. It certainly seems that way. The trenches don't really have any sort of order resembling defensive positions. They're cluttered around the building and branching east and west. There are many trenches leading around it, as you can see on this image here, zoomed out. There's a row of trenches leading up to the Druzhba site, and you can also see a double row of anti-tank trenches which we looked at nearby. So this town is an area of very high activity. Druzhba is roughly 21 kilometers from Bakhmut. I have a few more satellite images to look at here. This graphic was put together by NL Tracker on Twitter, and they're worth taking a look because they're high quality and show some of the details lacking in Sentinel-2 imagery. This one here is along the border of Donetsk and Luhansk. Highlighted are anti-tank walls, and behind it 3 rows of dragon's teeth. Now, these anti-tank walls are basically an earthen wall with a trench behind it. We saw in a video maybe a week or so ago that the trench isn't very wide, but interestingly, it appears on this image that Russia has done something monumentally stupid. The earthen wall is on the Ukrainian side of the trench. Why is this stupid? Well, if Ukraine does advance on this position, then Ukraine can just sort of bulldoze the earth into the trench behind it, getting the earth out of the way and filling the trench in the process. Really, you would expect the earthen wall to be built behind the trench to provide 2 obstacles. Ukraine has to get over the trench and then has to scale the earthen wall. Also highlighted are a number of bog-standard defensive formations and infantry trenches, the likes of what we've seen quite a few times. Some are built along the T0504 road leading from Bakhmut to Popasna. I've put together a little map tracking defensive positions, which we'll look at shortly. First of all, moving closer to Popasna, there's a long straight defensive line being built here. This could be an anti-tank trench being built, considering its straightness. It's built on the south side and extending north. I assume it's going to likely extend further north once complete. So now let's check out the map. This isn't extensive, this is just a selection of the defensive positions and trenches that are found on Sentinel-2 so far. The red line shows 2 anti-tank trenches leading north to south. So we can see that Russia has basically fortified the road leading to Popasna east of the double row of defensive anti-tank trenches, with Druzhba having a high level of activity, so appears to be a key base or mustering point in this region. Something what I haven't spotted yet, dug in positions for howitzers. Now, this could be for a number of reasons. First of all, they may not have been built yet. It's definitely possible that they will be constructed later. Or they could be somewhere else, in an area I didn't check yet or where I missed. What I think most likely though is that Russia has, by and large, stopped using dug-in berths for artillery because of a risk. They did use them. We've seen them on satellite imagery and drone footage and videos, and there are a few possible ones spotted on satellite imagery around Kherson, the defensive positions there. But around Bakhmut and Popasna, there aren't any, and I think it's because of a high risk of counter-battery fire or the risk of a Christmas visit from jolly old Saint Himars, who visits all of the naughty boys and girls and leaves a rocket in their stocking. Instead, I think Russia are going to rely on quick artillery fire and then moving away from the danger zone as fast as possible. That certainly makes the most sense and will be less risky than having a single static position. Even if we rotate the artillery in and out, so move it into the defensive berth, fire, move it back again, it's still a risk because Ukraine will know where these positions are and know to keep an eye on them. So a question I'm sure you all have, can this get HIMARSed? Well, as we can see here, the impact zone centered on Druzhba, yes it can, quite comfortably. All of these defensive positions which we've seen can get HIMARSed if needs be. Though, given the intensity around Bakhmut at the moment, there may be more choice and more important targets than a trench being built for now. But I have to assume that Druzhba may be on Ukraine's radar as a possibility. Ukraine has access to much better technology than Sentinel-2, so I'm sure they will definitely have eyes on this position, no doubt in much clearer detail, and have a much better idea of what is going on. So what does this tell us? I don't think this means that Russia is considering giving up on the Bakhmut offensive and falling back. Rather, it's fortified to protect against any possible counter-attacks when they advance elsewhere. Fortifications like this will hamper Russia's own offensive actions, funneling the Russian forces through gaps in the trenches too. So I don't think a Russian push will come from the east. It's looking like it will be the south, as Russia has made slight gains in this region around here. So that's it for this video. I thought it worth taking a break away from Kherson's defensive positions, which we've looked at in the past, and have a look at Bakhmut's instead. It's quite an interesting one, thanks to its size and the fact there's a town which looks to be used as some sort of headquarters. If you want to check out Sentinel-2 imagery yourself, join the linked Discord server. I've pinned a website which is set up to allow browsing of positions in Kherson from November the 15th, so you can have a look for yourself and see what's there. It's very easy to use and quite interesting. If you found the video interesting, please click like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Thanks again, and take care everybody.